Hello everybody, and welcome to the All Singing, All Dancing Limelight Awards 2011. Now, this is a very exciting night for everyone involved in classical music across Australia. But before we get started, a solemn moment, I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respect to the traditional owners and the elders of the Sydney Opera House, people who drive Land Rovers and live in Mossman. Now, jokes aside, 2011 has been a very big year for Limelight. We celebrated 100 issues. We took a very big, bold step into the digital realm. As of today, our magazine is available on iPad through magazine platform Zinio. We've created an iPhone app to go with our 100th issue. And of course, we've launched our Limelight website. And I hope you've enjoyed the stories we've put up there, which our new recruit, Melissa Lesney, has worked so hard to put together. And personally, what I'm really pleased about is the way our website has become a forum for music lovers, a place where people can discuss the art form they care so much about. And of course, some of the comments are more relevant than others. On an article about Yevgeny Kissin's Australian concert tour, I got one of my favorite kind of random website non sequiturs. And I quote, "A good divorce attorney should inform you about your rights. I made the mistake of seeing a regular attorney who was unable to handle my unique demands and expectations." So that's very solid advice from a reader who's clearly been through a lot in 2011. And while we're on the subject of what's relevant and what isn't, what I love about the Limelight Awards is they don't have anything at all to do with this very fashionable concept of relevance, which has become a kind of pet peeve of mine. So I'm going to have a little rant about it, if you don't mind. Because in classical music, I come across it all the time. Marketing managers, without naming any names, wonder how to make their concerts more relevant to young people, for instance. Composers such as Steve Reich write music about terrorist attacks and then are praised for making their music relevant, which usually means writing something that's kind of up-to-date, contemporary, reflects some modern theme. And the trouble is that a piece of music can reflect any number of modern themes and be as up-to-date and contemporary as you like, but still be a really terrible piece of music. I'm with Duke Ellington on this one. If music sounds good, it is good. And if it is good, people will listen. And when it comes to classical music, I think the total irrelevance of classical music is what makes it so special. It transcends time and fashion. At its best, it's so magnificent that it doesn't have to be about anything. It doesn't have to be anything other than itself. And so asking about the relevance of a Haydn symphony, for instance, is about as sensible as asking a MasterChef contestant, you know, you've baked this wonderful macaroon, it's delicious, it's exquisitely prepared, but is it relevant? And so bringing us back to the Limelight Awards 2011, our readers haven't worried for a second whether tonight's works and performances and recordings are relevant or not. They care whether they were beautiful or moving or memorable or thrilling. And that's what I like about these awards. They're not about what some judging panel thinks is worthy this year, not who ought to win, but what has really made an impact on audiences this year. But before we get started presenting, I'd like to run you through a few of the biggest stories that Limelight's covered over the year, give you a quick review. Opera Australia has been in the press an awful lot, not just in Limelight, after its artistic director intimated that opera singers shouldn't be so fat. In line with this new policy, Opera Australia has announced that Victoria Beckham will be singing the lead role in Aida in 2013, accompanied by a chorus of real Ethiopians. So, a very authentic production, that will be. In March this year, Julia Gillard gave a gift to President Obama of an iPod full of Australian music, but without a note of classical music on it. And so to redress this heinous diplomatic blunder, we sent out iPods of classical music to Obama and Gillard. We got no reply from either. The Obama administration, we assume, were paranoid that they'd been sent a bomb or something. I think Gillard's administration, the Labour Party, are probably now wishing someone had sent her a bomb. And from Gillard to another controversial female leader. Kim Walker at the Sydney Conservatorium has had her contract discontinued after a tenure that's been plagued by accusations of financial mismanagement and overspending. And as a magazine that's followed this story for years, I'd just like to say how baseless these accusations are. We've always stood behind Kim Walker, and we really look forward to seeing the solid gold statue of her astride a jewel-encrusted unicorn that is to be erected at the con next year. But by far our biggest story of the year was an acoustic survey of all the major concert halls across Australia. And this was picked up by papers not only in Australia but across the world. And those of you who read the survey will know we now have the privilege of standing in the only venue in the Opera House with decent acoustics. So I hope you can you hear me up the back? Is that all right? No? You can't? No. And in the record industry, EMI has been bought by Universal, which means basically that the whole history of recorded music now belongs to Cyrus Mayer-Homji. Don't know if he's here tonight. He'll be selling CDs later on if anyone's interested. And so from the past to the future of Limelight. As of the April issue, we're having a complete redesign of the magazine from top to bottom. And so it'll be a very, very exciting time for us. This isn't a joke, this is actually happening. As of mid-year, Andre Rieu will be back to guest edit 7 issues of the magazine. That is a joke, that one. Now, those of you who were here last year at the Limelight Awards will remember I'd only been in the job for a couple of months, and I talked about Limelight's commitment to classical music. And I think in the last 12 issues of the magazine, we've really rammed that one home. It's been about music and nothing else. And we've covered some really important landmarks that other media don't seem so interested in. Brett Dean's 50th birthday, the first anniversary of the passing of Dame Joan, the completion not only of Ashkenazy's Mahler cycle with the Sydney Symphony, but of Valery Gergiev's first Mahler cycle with the London Symphony Orchestra. And in 2012 and beyond, we're looking forward to writing plenty more about the musicians who are here tonight and all the other wonderful musicians who many of you represent, because there is so much music making in Australia that is worth writing about. And some of it is so wonderful, it even deserves an award. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome back our MC, Guy Noble, to help us guide us through the Limelight Awards 2011.